So we do have a quorum. I'm announcing that. If you can keep your phones on mute and unmute them if you are going to be voting or if you want to ask any questions or make any comments. The other thing I'd like to do at this point is to ask for a volunteer, a third volunteer for the audit committee. The audit committee meets annually. And I don't believe that we have that volunteer yet, or do we?
I think I was volunteered at the last meeting to serve on the audit committee. Is there another one needed beyond me?
No, that would do it then. Thank you very much. So let's note that for the minutes. You know that trustee Van Capel is volunteering to be on the committee. Thank you very much.
Oh no! I think I was volunteered, but I'm happy to serve. Just giving you a hard time.
Trustee Van Capel is happy to serve, as we all are.
Thank you.
No, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Of course, sure.
So I'd like to ask, first of all, the few items that we have. We have a number of items that we will be able to go through judiciously. The first is to have the approval of the October 21st meeting of the fund, the minutes. So first, I want to see if there's any question or any amendment to those minutes. So hearing none, I'd like to ask for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, it passes. Thank you very much. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to the second resolution if you have all of your information in front of you. So this resolution is to authorize the replacement of fire alarm panels in 10 buildings at Lehman College in an amount not to exceed $1 million. So if we can just ask the executive director, Mohammed, if you can please give us an explanation on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The existing fire alarm panels at the Lehman College buildings are approximately about 22 years old, and they are no longer serviceable and therefore need to be replaced. The design expected to be completed by this month, and construction is scheduled to begin in January 2022 and is scheduled to be completed by the end of the year. The expected capital cost for the project is about $1 million, and this is what we're seeking for approval. The university is utilizing a requirements contract that is established by the New York State Office of General Services. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions on this particular item before we move it? I do have one question. Do we have a list of, like, a number of times the issues around fire alarms that need to be replaced or panels come before us? Do we have anywhere a record of what other outstanding fire alarms need to be put before us as a resolution for approval?
There is a current list of fire alarms and other system components, as we might expect. There are, several building components that need replacement, and we do have lists of this, which could be shared. However, what I wish to clarify and highlight, as we mentioned before, is right now we are embarking on a project to engage a consultant to conduct a system-wide facility condition assessment that will objectively and in a quantifiable fashion will be able to assess the conditions of all the systems in all buildings and provide them with a ranking, or what we call the FCI, the Facility Condition Index. So this is work in the process right now to establish an RFP and go out. And once we do that, we will be able to share those lists in a higher level of confidence, I would say.
Okay, no, that's good.
May I ask a question on what Dr. Atala just said?
Please.
You mentioned a consultant. Where will this consultant come from? Either a bidding process or, please tell me the consultant will not come from, DASNY?
Well, we will have an open bidding process and open bid process for qualified consultants who will be able to bid on that. And just to note, Senator, that our colleague Mike Stabilos is on the call from DASNY in this call.
I have no problem as long as there's a competitive bidding process.
Sure. Yes,
Uh,
this is a
Let
plan.
let me raise one issue, which is really throughout the entire agenda here. And you and I discussed this yesterday, but this in the state budget, every April, we have put a considerable amount of money in there, not for construction, but for critical maintenance, which is just the opposite of construction. It's to maintain buildings that may be decaying, crumbling, and whatever. And they obviously are not bonded. This is a grant in the state budget, and I think we ought to start using the critical maintenance so that we save the money in the capital budget for shovel in the ground types of construction.
Thank you, Senator.
And the reason is simple, you don't want to spread out the cost, a $1 million project over 20 years or whatever the life of the bond is. You save that, the interest, et cetera. And it seems very expensive, $100,000 per alarm, but I think the consultant hopefully will help us save money.
Sure, that's the expectation.
Yes, yes,
Miss-
Brian?
Yes, I just as a background question here, and I know there's been some discussion. Why is DASNY doing all of CUNY's work? Why isn't CUNY have the capabilities and the facilities to do some of these projects?
So that has been a historic direction, and I believe at that time, I'm not sure what were the reasons, but at that time it was perceived to be a better delivery approach. However, I believe that right now the strategy is to work on strengthening the capabilities of the CUNY team and its infrastructure and its assets in order to enable us to be able to undertake a larger portion of the work. Which is something that we're working on, and I could present to the trustees probably at the next meeting a presentation of the current thinking and the current strategy. So we need a system. For example, we currently, our team does not have a system, and I mean by that a technology, a computer system, an integrated system to be able to manage the project. So we are working on the procurement of such a system. At this point, our team going out to select the system. We worked on the job descriptions of our project managers and assistant directors, and we did develop and upgrade the job description. We have 4 vacancies right now. So we are posting for those vacancies with the new job description to allow for this expanded effort. And many other aspects. I don't want to take the time of the meeting now.
No, that's fine. I look forward to hearing about it in February.
Yes, I do too.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I didn't mean to sidetrack that.
No, that's okay. I think that these are important issues, and it's good for us to bring these up now because they're on our mind. Thank you very much for that input, and also Trustee Stavinsky for that. I'd like to have a motion. If we can have a motion on this, is there Trustee?
So moved.
And second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. What I'd like to do now is to bring up the next item, which is the third resolution, and that's the resolution to authorize HVAC upgrades to the Razran Hall building at Queens College in an amount not to exceed 38.75 million. So if we can have Trustee Atala just give us a Executive Director Mohammed Atala give us an explanation of this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The existing HVAC systems in Rajan Hall building are 50 years old and in very poor condition, as we might expect. So CUNY is working on the developing a design in order to be able to upgrade the entire HVAC system in this building. But while doing this, the team also capitalize on this idea and on the HVAC upgrade as part of our CUNY's commitment for sustainability, requested an energy performance vendor to undertake a feasibility energy assessment in order to upgrade them. So upgrade the HVAC system with an energy efficient system. And in addition as well, in the process of doing and performing the work, some interior renovation and some interior space upgrades have been also incorporated into the project. And the university aims to implement this energy conservation measure that will reduce energy operations maintenance cost of the building. The energy saving will result from installation of new rooftop energy recovery systems and new building management system, in addition to other measures. The expected cost of the project is about $38 million. Construction is anticipated to begin in February in 2022 and be completed by May of the following year. Thank you.
Good. Thanks for that info. I was wondering when they were going to be finished. I remembered when I was a student at Queens College about 50 years ago. And so only now are we paying attention to the upgrades. Okay. Hope we don't have to wait another 100 years for this to happen, but glad that we are paying attention to it. Any other questions on this particular resolution?
Yes,
Please.
I will vote for it. I think I was in your class 50 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a 3-story building with classrooms and labs, from what I understand. And that, to me, $1 million in a 50-year-old building, it's like when you have an old car, replacing the motor or replacing the cooling system doesn't make it a new car. It makes it an old car with piecemeal additions. And I just wonder what the advantage is in putting the $1 million, that's the $38 million into a 50-year-old building.
Well,
And
sorry, go ahead, Senator. I'm sorry, should I? Yeah, the question is done. I speak.
Yeah,
okay, good. I'm sorry, I thought I interrupted. So I believe the note is very well taken and understood. If you have an older asset, you probably would decide at certain point to replace the asset rather than continue to upgrade. However, this asset and many of our assets, it will be very difficult or almost impossible to replace them. As a note is our system, the system has 29 million square feet of properties. Those are about 300 buildings. And more than half of those, or actually more than 55% of those 29 million square feet are 50 years and older. They are baby boomers and they need a lot of maintenance. And the university, or I would say, I mean, that's a problem in the entire nation, is do not have the capital to be able to deal with all of those inventory of buildings that are 50 years and older, and they will need to be replaced. So I don't believe that we'll be able to replace half of our buildings. So the other alternative is to continue to upgrade them and try to invest to maintain the program and the quality of the space. So this is why we're recommending this.
Because I'm concerned you're going to come back and next month and say, we need fire alarms. at any rate, I will vote for it. But I am concerned about putting Scotch tape where you need a major overhaul.
I'll also vote for it. I think, by the way, I'm the third trustee who also took classes at Rasmussen Hall. Mine was 30 years ago, but nonetheless, I'm familiar with it. I'm wondering, we have a building on 14th and First, the organization I work for, and we're tearing it down and going to build up a new building, and that's $80 million to tear down an existing structure. So it's, I take the senator's point that sometimes maybe you put a little more money in, you get a new building. Dr. Atala, you had said that in addition to the HVAC upgrades, there's some other things that are going to be upgraded as well. What percentage of that 3875 is the HVAC, and what percentage are other upgrades like classroom upgrades, laboratory upgrades, et cetera? Do you have a breakdown for that?
I don't have the exact precise breakdown on my hand, but through discussions with our team, I believe in the vicinity of about $8 million out of the 38 are going to those space upgrade. Plus the energy efficiency component also took some investment to ensure that the replacement will be efficient.
Okay.
I mean, the 2 points that have been brought up are extremely important, and it would seem that if we're looking at some type of a long-term strategic plan, that it would take into account a critical assessment, of the maintenance, and when should we do maintenance, and should we have other strategies in place to deal with our capital assets? So are we going to have, is there any type of a plan? I know that on each of the college campuses, there is a strategic plan that's in place, but to what extent are we plugged into that, Atala?
There are two parallel directions we're working on. One, the one that I just mentioned about engaging a consultant for the facility condition and the assessment. And this actually will very much address the item that we're talking about. When you quantifiably and professionally assess the condition of the building and produce what we call, or the industry call, a facility condition index. And the university can make decisions at this point. If you have a facility condition index of 30% or 40%, strategically, the university could decide and say any building has an FCI of 40 and higher, we will not undertake any major system renewals in this building until we have such a capital to be able to replace the building. Some organizations do that, but again, it's based on the fiscal status of the building. So this study will allow us to do this. The second aspect is myself and the Executive Vice Chancellor, Batista, we have a plan. We are in the middle of this plan of meeting with all college presidents to speak specifically about the capital plans, upgrade them, and link them to the academic plan in the college and the growth potential in the college. And based on that, we have those discussions, and we'll start to narrow or update the strategic capital direction.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. At a certain point in time, you'll come back to us and then just tell us how those discussions are going and what the plans are. Executive Director, you'll be able to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. It will take like about a year. So
yeah,
go through the entire 25 campuses. Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
Thank you. So I'd like to get a motion on this. Is there a motion in a second on this?
So moved.
Resolution? It's been moved, and if one of the trustees can second it.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. It passes. The next resolution that I want to bring before you is a resolution to authorize improvements to an underpass at the 159th Street in Jamaica, Queens, which is the gateway to the York College campus, in an amount not to exceed $3 million. If the Executive Director can just give us an explanation of this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The project will renovate the public space around the Long Island Railroad underpass at 159th Street. It is the key pedestrian gateway between York College and downtown Jamaica. Since the underpass is owned by a third party, the university needs a construction license to do the renovations and a permanent easement to make the renovations and use the underpass. The University's Board of Trustees requests UCF to provide capital funding for the project in an amount not to exceed $3 million. And I have few slides here the team prepared to share with you to have a visual.
Yeah, thank you.
So here we have the York campus and the location of the underpass. Next slide, please. These are some pictures I've taken of the current condition of the underpass. And you can see from the top, bottom, left, right pictures, the condition, really the poor condition of the underpass and how the exit, the gates looks like. And it is not really, project well for CUNY and for our students. Now we have some slides to show you rendering of the proposed scope. This is a floor plan. We have lights in the floor and some stands. You will see elevations in the next slide. This is a slide during the day with those lighting poles, with those flowery look, make the college a very inviting place for students. And we have another slide looking at night. So this is how the light, we have lights on the floor, light in the poles. And next, please. And there will be some guiding boards for people who are entering the college to be able to, by a way of wayfinding, as you see the person with the red hat is looking at. I believe this is the last slide I think we have.
I'm glad that you showed us the slides. My question is there a strategy? Like one of the things I'm concerned about with the way it's set up right now is I'm concerned about vandalism. I'm concerned about harm that can come to people. That's an easy place for individuals to do all type of things. Is there another strategy that links in? First of all, do we have cameras there? If we have cameras, are they rendered to the police department, the local precinct? Is there anybody giving some thought to some of those? Because I just think we need to have some thought on this.
Yeah, sure. I believe public safety and the college are really aware of this, and they do have strategies to monitor this. However, we'll take this note to ensure about the piece around the cameras specifically, to ensure that the scope would have cameras and will be monitored. And again, speak with the college and their public safety in terms of what's the best approach or the best infrastructure that we could provide in the design to address this piece.
Would you be able before, we can vote on this and I will approve it, of course, but because I think it makes sense and I like the new design. However, can you come back to the trustees in one way or another, even just to let us know what the response has been from a public safety standpoint?
Sure.
Like what the strategy is for this, because big concerns here.
If I can add a little piece, there is a public safety station right outside of the underpass, and the college controls the gate. So at night, when the school closes and when the public safety person goes home, they close the gate. And so that gate is closed to the public for security purposes. So, but we'll get back to you on the cameras. But yeah, the security of that area is supervised by security officer, public safety officers of CUNY, and then the gate is closed when there's no one there.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I look at what has happened at Columbia University over the last few months, and what's going on there, and it just needs to be a coordinated response. And I really would like to. I don't want us to be in the newspapers because we haven't been proactive in looking at this. Any other comments from others?
I totally agree with you. I held a hearing at York College several weeks ago. It's a wonderful, wonderful school, and public safety really has to be at the top.
Thank you very much, trustee.
I
for
think
that.
they're going to be attracting more and more students there.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
I think that you're right. We have a new dynamic president there. Very
Yes.
proactive. She has a great vision for the college, and so I think that you're right about that.
That's what.
Is there a motion for this item?
I moved the item.
Yes, and then second. All in favor?
Aye.
I-
in favor.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. The fifth item that I'd like to bring is authorizing capital improvements to additional lease space for the CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy in an amount not to exceed 1.5 million. If the Executive Director Tala can talk to us a little bit about this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The School of Public Health currently leases about 39,000 square feet, rentable square feet in 55 West 125th Street, pursuant to a lease entered by the university on behalf of the school. The school has experienced significant growth and requires additional space at its current location to expand its research programs and capabilities. The university approved on July 6, 2021, an amendment of the current lease to add an additional 8,800 rentable square feet on the 8th floor of the same building. The build out cost is expected to be about 1.5 million. And in the next slide, we have a symbol. This is a location of the building. This is a pic for the building from the outside. And next slide has the proposed floor plan. It's a partial floor in this building. It's about, as I said, 8,800 square feet, and this is a proposed plan. Thank you.
Question. Thank you very much for that.
I have a quick question. Who owns the building?
The building is owned by BVK 55 West 125 Street LLC.
And that is,
It's a landlord. Sorry, you need additional details about
no,
that?
every time we add to a building that we don't own, you have to ask why. But I don't have a problem with this.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this one?
Nope.
Is there a motion that we can get?
I'll move it.
Moved by Van Capel and second by Overpel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. Let's see, the last resolution that I have is for the authorizing capital improvements for additional lease space for the CUNY School of Labor and Urban Studies in an amount not to exceed 2 million. Can I have the Executive Director Atala give us a readout on this, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The School of Labor currently leases about 51,000 square feet, rentable square feet at 28 West 44th Street. The school is currently experiencing significant crowding of its administrative staff. In addition, it's experiencing enrollment growth. Enrollment has increased greatly in the past year and is expected to grow annually for at least the next 5 years.
You want us to do special?
The university approved on October 21st, 2021.
But the problem is.
Others can go on mute, please. Okay, thank you.
An amendment of the current lease to add an additional 15,000 rentable square feet on the 14th floor of the building. The additional space will alleviate many of the challenges the school currently faces due to the rapid growth in enrollment of faculty and staff. The estimated value of the upgrade is about $2 million, and we have slides to Show next slide, please. So the location of the building, the building from the outside, and then we have a floor plan. This is currently how the 15,000 square feet look like. And next slide, this is the improvement that we are considering for the school. Thank you very much.
No, I'm really so happy to see this improvement. The previous space is not very inviting. It's bad news. So anyway, I'm really glad that we're doing something there, and it's really good to see that the program is expanding, and that they're doing something with that. So good news from that, from my standpoint. Others?
Yes, I couldn't agree more. They have such a wonderful program, and they have an active student body, but also people from the labor unions and other stakeholders have really played an important role in advocating for the school. The old Murphy Institute, I'd say, to me, a great program. And when we see a program where we don't have to say where are the students, but instead you have an improving enrollment, there's something good going on there, and I'm excited about this one too.
No,
And
that's
I'll
good.
echo the senator and chairman's comments in saying that it's a first-class program in less than first-rate facilities, and so I'm happy we're giving them something that they deserve, which is a really terrific build-out. So kudos to the team. And I'll move the motion.
And I'll
Okay.
second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. We gleefully and gladly approve this, and thank you very much. The next item, actually, those are the main resolution items, and the next piece actually is just a report from the chair, and so and it's to report on our next meeting, which is February 17th at 9:30, and we'll see. I don't know if you have any thoughts on whether this will be remote or whether we have to have this in person. Trustee Shavetsky, do you have any insight on this based on the open meeting?
February, I will have a problem. That is a session day in Albany. We're going the entire week because the following week, there's no session. It must be
Winter recess.
so I would have to join in remotely as I drive back from Albany. That's what we call a getaway day. I did send the conflicts that I have that conflict with the legislative session. The question of whether we will be permitted to do it remotely, the question of the open meetings law has not been decided. It expires, I believe, January 15th. The governor seems to be trending to extend these provisions, these executive orders, but I think she's waiting to see what happens with the numbers, and they're going up.
Yes, they're very true.
Statewide, I'm talking about, particularly upstate Western New York.
Can we, Gustavo or somebody, can we relook at the time of that next meeting instead of February the 17th? I'd like to be able to accommodate the senator, and find something that is more amenable to her schedule, quite frankly.
They sent the schedule. Gustavo, I will send you the legislative calendar. It's available
Yeah.
online. But I will
Yes,
send
Chair.
it later today when I get to the office.
Yes, Chairman Barry, we'll work
Yeah.
and figure out a better solution.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
We
very much.
will, we will look at the schedule for sure, and I hope that our colleagues or other trustees will accommodate the time. I would like to note that the last time we tried to reschedule a meeting, we rescheduled it 2.5 months after the date. And that had an impact on items that needed to be approved, and it had an impact on project completions. So we, as staff. We'll make ourselves available at any time. And I hope that with, members of the board will provide flexibility so that we can move the date like within the week of that February 17, within that time.
Okay.
Very much appreciated.
So take a look at some other options based on the data, get back to the trustees, and then let's see how we can meet everybody's needs. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I'll
Thank you.
appreciate that. You said that there was earlier somebody from DASNY is.
Yes, Mr. Mike Stabilas with us. Yeah.
Is he-
You see
I
it.
don't know,
You
is he
see
on
it.
or-
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Mike, or, I don't know, I don't see his picture.
It says MSTABULA.
Oh, okay, I see. Ah, there he goes. There's his wonderful face. How you doing, Mike?
Good.
Good. Do you want to, is there anything that you have, any information that you have to report, that can enlighten us on any items that you're dealing with? Can you just give us a?
If there's any question, I mean, I hear questions about DASNY's role in the capital program with CUNY, and we could certainly set aside time if you'd like to go through the history of that and why that might be, why it has occurred for all these years since 1960s, and some of the possible benefits of that. So totally up to you.
No, I'd like to do that. I always have included time on the agenda for DASNY, and so I want to get back to making sure that that's an ongoing action item that DASNY has an opportunity, to talk about any issues that are important and just to maintain the partnership that we have had. So I want to make sure that that's an agenda item for the next meeting. And that would be helpful. Thanks for being aboard, and good to see you also.
Same here.
Yeah. At this, I'd like to see if the executive director, Mohammed Atala, do you have a report to provide?
I believe we're good. No report for this time. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, well then, we've been able to move expeditiously through the calendar, through the agenda. And what I'd like to do is to wish each and every one of you not only a happy holiday, but also a very safe one with your family and with your loved ones, and hope that all is well until we meet again. So I am calling for an adjournment of the meeting unless anybody else has anything else that they'd like to present for the good of the order.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
second approved. Thank you all very much. Really appreciate it, and thank you all for the input, and look forward to seeing you again. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye.
Chairman. Happy New Year.
Great.
Happy
Thank
New
Happy
Year.
holidays.
Happy
New
New
Year.
Year. Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.